Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green 19 podcast. I'm Dominique Yates. I'm joined by Ryan Wood and Tom Silverstein. Big Thanksgiving victory for the Packers, 31-24 over the Detroit Lions, and really an impressive victory, no question about it. After going 1-5 last year in the NFC North, right now the Packers are 3-0, completing a regular season sweep over the Detroit Lions, a team that really had the Packers number over the last couple seasons, or really especially last year. So, as always, I like to kind of get your thoughts and takeaways, guys, on this game. And Ryan, how about you start us off? What do you make of this Packers performance?
I think the most important thing is this. It's only as good as their next win, right? Now is the time of the season. They just had a signature victory on their schedule. They had a lot of momentum early in this season. They did not handle it well. That's what I'm first and foremost, before we even get into this win and how it happened and how significant it is. How do they handle this? Because at 8-3-1, they're right back in it. Like that was a Super Bowl performance today. They had all the pieces. Now Spoon, they lost the big one, so we'll see about Devontae Wyatt. But that was offense. Micah Parsons, I thought it was a three-pronged victory. Matt LaFleur coached his butt off. He flat out coached Dan Campbell. Jordan Love, that's the blueprint. They want to spread the wealth. All of his receivers were making plays, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then Micah Parsons called game and made NFL history while doing it. 12.5 this season. First player, only player in NFL history with a dozen sacks in each of his first 5 seasons, surpassing Reggie White, who had 11 sacks in his 5th season. So those are all the ingredients. But to me, it's like, how do they handle it from here? Now the Chicago Bears are on tap. How do they handle that?
Spoon, just what do you make of it?
Can I point out that I predicted that they would score 31 points?
You did.
Who'd you pick to win, Spoon?
However, I did.
Who'd we pick to win, Spoon?
I picked the Lions to score 35.
Right.
So,
That's the more important part.
Yeah. Maybe if they hadn't lost to Amon-Ra St. Brown, it might have been different.
Might have.
True.
It was a significant win. It puts them back in, I would say, semi-control of the division, because Chicago still has to prove that it's for real. It's their first really big signature victory since week 1 when they beat the Lions. And they needed it because they've got more significant games coming up, And I really, I sort of wrote in that prediction that this is the game that their offense has to show up. I mean, it has to show the signs. This is the moment when it's got to start picking up steam, and it did.
They read you.
Yeah, I would have never bet anything on Dontavian Wicks being the hero in the game. He looked like the guy who played in Dallas in 2023. It's the first time I've seen him play like that since that game. And he was just phenomenal. And I also think that, Christian Watson opens up a lot of things for people, and they're finally figuring that out. It's taken them a little time. There's many circumstances to this game that don't make me, like this is a Super Bowl team or they're going somewhere. Detroit's kind of flailing a little bit. But I won't deny that it was a signature win, and it was crazy that Matt LaFleur kept going for it on 4th down.
Aggressive. I mean, Matt LaFleur out Dan Campbell.
Yep.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Which, again, this was probably the closest game, I think I would say, from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, that they kind of put some things together. They jumped out to a 10-0 lead on offense. The defense, they had their moments, and, they were able to get some sacks. It wasn't, I wouldn't say, like, from top to bottom, like a great performance, but in terms of some of the aggressive play calling, receivers catching the ball, they ran the ball well at times as well, and how the defense, made some of those plays when it mattered. I would say this might have been the closest to like a complete performance for the Packers. Where do you kind of see it? And I'll get your thoughts next.
Well, it was their best win of the season because they beat the best team they've played this season on their home field. Like, it was their best win. There was a lot of things that surprised me today. I wasn't surprised they went for that first 4th down. I was surprised Jordan Love threw it to the end zone. Mm-hmm. That surprised me. I was shocked that they went for that last 4th down.
Mm-hmm. I was too.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that, and I think that even that moment, that's the Micah Parsons effect. Matt LaFleur's trusting his defense, even if you give a short field, that they're going to come up with a stop. Because you know that if they don't, the Lions are coming down. They're going to try to score a touchdown. And if they do, they're going for 2 and for the win. Like that game, you're putting the game there really in your defense's hands, hoping you can get the 4th down conversion that seals it, and they did. So I was surprised at several turns today. But at the end of the day, Matt LaFleur was pushing the right buttons. Everything that he pushed on came up spades. And that's the type of coaching you need to make a run. He ran circles around Dan Campbell in this game. There's more work to do for Matt LaFleur. It's not enough to have one really good game where you run circles around Dan Campbell, but that's what he did today.
Yeah, and it's kind of ironic. It kind of flipped the switch from last season. Late in the game when the Lions had the ball, they went for it on 4th down, the Jared Goff trip, falling play. Mm-hmm. But that was what Dan Campbell said. He's like, I don't want to put the ball back in Jordan Love in the Packers' hands. I want to be able to kind of control it and pull away a win. So they just kind of flipped the switch today. It was the Packers. Again, Spoon, just kind of some takeaways and thoughts on just the overall, first quarter to fourth quarter performance.
I sort of forgot what I was going to say. I had it all in my head, and now we've gone.
I talked too long.
But I think. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So, yeah, credit LaFleur for, having the guts to go for those 4th downs. But none of that happens without Jordan Love putting 3 passes, 3 dimes, throwing 3 dimes. I mean, they really were.
Yeah.
The one to Wicks was the only place you could put it. Dobbs, he threw it where nobody else could get it. And Wicks, he threw it where only Wicks could get it.
Yeah.
So, you ride a hot quarterback like that, which is really funny because we talked about it at halftime that Love looked really timid to start the game.
Yeah.
He looked like he wasn't sure, who was open or where to go with it. He wasn't aggressive at all.
See, I took it the opposite. And maybe I could be wrong. I thought he was too amped up. Like he was like, there was a pass. He had a guy open over the middle. It might have been Watson, where he missed it because he just rifled a fastball, and I'm like, whoa, he's open. Take a breath.
Could be.
Chill.
Yeah.
So, but he was off. I agree with you. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I thought that as well, that he was a little too hyped up.
Yeah.
Like the one where he had Melton wide open.
Yeah.
All you need to do, calm down, he's right there. He's right there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree with that. But I also thought then there were times where he was just a little, not taking what was there. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was nerves. But if you look at that last play to Wicks, he's got a lean McNeil right in his face.
Yes.
Anthony Belton let McNeil run, and he just flicks it. Everybody is obsessed with him throwing off his back foot, but very few guys can throw it like he did and put it where he put it with Wicks. So, LaFleur gets a ton of credit, but so does Love.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Wicks as well. Again, it was so much irony in this game because last year, if you told me Wicks was going to be like in a crucial 4th down play, Wicks was going to be the guy that Jordan Love threw to, I would have said like, yeah, okay, I don't think that's going to happen. He might drop it or something wouldn't go right. But to see a guy have all the struggles with drops, to have the calf injury this year, he missed, 2 games because of that. I guess what do you make, Ryan, of what Wicks did on this stage? 6 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Dontavian Wicks has always been this talented. Mm-hmm. Why did they keep throwing to him last year when he went through the plague of drops? Because he was always open.
Yeah. He was top in targets last year.
He was always this
sure.
talented, but the NFL has a lot of talented players that don't become good players because they don't do it consistently enough. Mm-hmm. And with Dontavian Wicks, it's never been a question of talent. Yeah. He gets open. His release package is fantastic. He separates. He struggled catching the ball last year, and this year he's been hurt. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way about Dontavian Wicks as I still feel about Luke Musgrave. I think Luke Musgrave is a very talented player. He hasn't been able to put it together consistently enough to be a good player. And 1 week for Dontavian Wicks is not a good player to make, but he was good today.
Right.
And if he can consistently bring that type of just being clean and playing clean, making those strong hand catches, he's going to be open. That could become a weapon in this Packers offense. Now, we got to see that happen. I'm not calling it. But he has the talent to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and it was needed because, like, Spoon just kind of made the point of, like, there's a lot of attention on Christian Watson. Then you throw in the fact Jaden Reed wasn't ready to go yet. Matthew Golden was out. They used Savion Williams in the passing game as well. But that's another guy. So they were a little bit thin in that regard at receiver. So Wicks was kind of the guy that delivered. Just kind of thoughts.
Yeah, and it was clutch. I mean, my guess is that he's finally healthy. I mean, that calf has bothered him since training camp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's been in and out of practice and really hasn't consistently been there. And I thought today he looked like he was beating man coverage. That's the other thing, is that the Packers have a few guys who are really good in man coverage. Christian Watson, obviously, in man coverage is better than a zone coverage guy. You know, he's not a guy who just sits down in zones. He's going to run by people. Like he did, I think, was it Amik Robertson down the right sideline? He just, he was covered, and then all of a sudden he just accelerates and he's open. Maybe it's that Wicks loves man coverage. Maybe that's just what really opened the door for him today.
Yeah.
I don't know how many teams are going to play the Packers in man coverage, but it certainly played a big role in their victory today.
You know what I found interesting? Like I said, this is a three-pronged victory. Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Micah Parsons. If there was a fourth, to me, it was the receivers, and especially how they were used. I know you got the book in front of you, so I don't want to. But how many times have we said, Christian Watson, he should get 10 targets?
Right.
Yeah.
How many targets did he have today, Spoon?
10.
He had 10 targets. Dontavian Wicks was second in targets with, I think, 7.
Correct.
Romeo Doubs had 4 targets. He caught all 4. He was their third targeted receiver.
Yeah.
How long have we been saying that? and is that a coincidence that this offense just suddenly looked much better and put 31 points on the road in Detroit when they might be giving it to their best players more?
Yeah.
I think Christian Watson has to be the centerpiece of their offense.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no question. Everything flows off of him because teams play him, instead of 7 yards off the line of scrimmage, they play him 8 or 9. You have to have a safety over the top, as the Lions showed. If you don't have somebody there, he's going to run by you. He's making catches on the sideline. Mm-hmm. He's making, hands catches, stuff that he didn't. He dropped the one on third down before Wicks caught it, but he's as reliable as they come right now, and I think they need to keep working off that. Reed should be able to work off of, him too.
The other thing too, I noticed when you read who caught the fourth down passes, it's just 3 different names, right? And one of them was Romeo Doubs. Yeah. Like, he's a part of this offense. I'm not saying you exile him to the sideline and just keep him there, but they spread the ball out, and a lot of guys made plays today, and that's what they've, for years now. That's what they've been searching for. That's the blueprint on how they draw it up for this passing game, and you just saw why. Now, when you have the right target allocation, you can get more guys involved. It all kind of came together.
It does, and I was looking at the stats. He had Dobbs. He was basically 4 for 4 targets, 4 receptions, and then you mentioned Watson with 4 receptions, 10 targets. Wicks 6 receptions, 7 targets. Again, that's pretty solid right there. Again, they kind of just took what the defense gave them, and I really thought about a big play in that third quarter after the Packers defense got a turnover on downs. Within that third play, Love just throws a bomb to Watson, 51-yard touchdown. Again, you talk about that aggressive play. That was one of those moments. I'm just like, we haven't really seen that in a while, where it's like the defense makes a big play, the offense kind of goes for the throat, if you will. So, again, it was something that maybe you can build off of.
I asked Christian Watson about that, and they noticed late in the first half and then discussed at halftime that the Lions were kind of standing a little flat-footed. And he comes out knowing that play is going to get called early in the second half. It was the second play of the second half, right after that fourth down stop.
Yeah.
And I think what you saw there, when we said that the Lions were a bit downhill, this was the best Josh Jacobs we've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He had a 29-yard run today.
Absolutely.
And that's not a coincidence either. When Josh Jacobs is the threat he was today, finally you're going to get the defense starting to be flat, and you can hit him over the top.
I had no idea Detroit would react the way they did. No, I don't know if maybe that was their game plan, but they reacted like hyperactively when Josh Jacobs started. I mean, they're putting everybody at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
9 guys at times. And they were basically saying, Jordan Love, you're going to beat us. Mm-hmm. We're not letting Josh Jacobs beat you. And the Packers were the same way with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, all right, Jared Goff, you're going to have to beat us. And, you know, he almost did. But it you know, if that's the way, if teams are going to respect Josh Jacobs like that, then that'll help their passing game. That'll help their offense.
Speaking of the running game and how Jacobs did it, from the offensive line, I think they have something with Anthony Belton at right guard. He's far from a finished product. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, this is only his second game at right guard. Last week he split, or Sunday, not even last week, Sunday he split the snaps with Jordan Morgan. So this game he was actually, you know, full speed ahead. You know, what do you kind of make of not only Belton, but just the offensive line with Sean Ryan running the center and just the operation?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they have something with Anthony Belton at right guard and Sean Ryan at center. Mm-hmm. I think they got, between those two and Aaron Banks, they have beef on their interior.
Yeah.
They have people movers, and they move people today. And so, are you going to sacrifice some pass protection? Yeah, but then at that point, look, the quarterback makes the pass protection way more than the offensive line makes the pass protection. If you're going to sacrifice some pass protection, you're telling Jordan Love, you got to be on point. Mm-hmm. And I think that at this point, with what we've seen to date of Jordan Love, he can be on point. He one of the best things he does is avoid sacks. Like, he's very good with pressure. That's what you're asking him to do, and then that helps your run game.
Yeah, I guess it's ironic, though, thinking with Belton, maybe even more impressive that's such a short window. What is it, 4 days or so where he was able to step in? But just, you know, what are your thoughts?
Well, what it says to me is that, I mean, he's an unfinished product. Mm-hmm. He's still making mistakes. I mean, he jumped off sides on a play when they're trying to draw the Lions offside. So, you know, that wasn't great. And then, like, he almost blew up that last play by letting McNeil get by him. But he should have been playing weeks ago.
Yeah.
He should be close to a veteran now.
Yeah.
And they just tinkered along with Jordan Morgan. And I don't blame Jordan Morgan for not being the player Belton is at right guard.
Yeah.
Because he's not a guard.
Yeah. No.
So, you know, they'd be in a lot better position if they had made that move. But now that they have, I think he and Ryan are like two bulls in a china shop. So they're going to move people and stuff, but, you know, there's going to be some talented guys who are going to get past them.
They're going to break stuff, too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that you're just going to have to put up with that because they're not, you know, polished players at their positions. But I do think Belton adds a lot, and I think as the weather gets worse too, Belton will help quite a bit to be in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, just the more snaps, the better. Like you said, we've been talking about this for weeks, just seeing what it would look like. And, again, it's a good starting point, I think, to have Belton there and just to kind of see how things are, you know, taking shape, especially on the interior, a position, just a group that was really struggling. So let's talk about this defense before we wrap up this podcast. I mean, they started lights out. They kind of picked up where they left off against Minnesota, and then just, you know, a few missed assignments here and there, missed tackles here and there. And then they didn't get there with 4.
Well,
but still, what
they
did you
had
kind
4
of say?
quarterback hits in the first 2 Lions drives. The Lions had 10 net yards. They didn't hit Jared Goff again until Micah Parsons in the fourth quarter. Somewhere in between that, Jared Goff completes 15 straight passes. So he got way too comfortable. When the pass rush doesn't get home, it is much less of a defense. That's just what they are. But when it does get home, one of the top defenses in the NFL. It's the Micah Parsons effect. I thought it was very interesting. Dan Campbell, because we saw on their last drive, they were milking the clock like they had a 10-point lead instead of a 10-point deficit.
That was weird.
And Dan Campbell said he wanted to intentionally play it like that because he didn't want it to get into a situation where the pass rush, a.k.a. he said Micah Parsons, could just pin his ears back. They're playing it to score there, make a stop, get the last possession, to limit the number of times Micah Parsons was on the field. That's the Parsons effect. Big picture, they had lost before this season 6 of the last 7 against the Lions. They had lost both in 2022 and 2024. They have now won both. What changed from last year to this year? It was Micah Parsons.
Yeah. I will say that I think some of the... I had time to think about it. So their 4-man rush was not good. But they stopped Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
And I think the whole idea of not blitzing those inside linebackers was sideline to sideline, keep Jahmyr Gibbs in check. That was the priority.
And they did.
And they chose, they chose him over Goff and the receivers, and especially when Amon-Ra St. Brown went out.
Yeah.
I think their focus went to Gibbs. The only time Gibbs really got out was when Parsons peeked inside and he got outside of him, and Rashawn Gary peeked inside and he got outside of him.
Yeah.
Other than that, the way they layered, the pursuit, it was, they just gave him no gaps. I mean, that's as fine a run defense as I've seen in a long time, and it sort of reminded me how it's kind of crazy, but way back when the Packers held Barry Sanders to minus 1 yard in the frigid cold, but that was their philosophy. They were like, don't go for his fake, spread it out, close. Everybody closes at once on him, and that's kind of what they did.
What did Gibbs finish with, by the way? I was trying to look at the stats.
20 carries for 68 yards, 3.4
That'll play
per yard.
So you'll take that every time. Anything like reception-wise? Nothing?
He had 3 catches for 18 yards.
The thing I didn't understand the most about the Lions' run game is just how often they continue to try to get things horizontally. That's just not going to work against this Packers defense. When they actually ran it at them, they had success. Think about the David Montgomery touchdown. It's an illegal formation. It makes it 1st and goal from the 14. 3 straight David Montgomery runs. The third down and goal is a wildcat. They just ran at him. That's how you have to run the ball on this Packers defense. There's way too much side-to-side horizontal stuff, and there's way too much speed on this Packers defense for anyone in the NFL to do that. It's everywhere.
It was really fascinating to watch the run defense. It reminds me of, I know when you played middle school football, and the coaches would teach you pursuit drills. It's like, you're in this lane, you're in this lane, you're in this lane. Don't leave your spot. You're supposed to be there. You just saw a lot of that from this Packers group. It's like, okay, Cooper would be here, McDuffie would be here, Buller would be here. So if he tried to cut back, someone was waiting to make a play.
It was pretty to watch from our view on the 7th story here. I mean, you can see it all in play. It was pretty.
Yeah, I saw again. It was just really strong tackling in this game outside of Carrington Valentine. But other than that,
can I just say,
it was some strong tackling.
Nate Hobbs makes that tackle. You want to wonder where they might use Nate Hobbs or even miss Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs makes that tackle.
Yeah, no question about it. That was embarrassing.
Yes.
Totally embarrassing. And Javon Bullard had a very similar play. I think it was with Gibbs in the flat. And he comes up and he's barely got Gibbs, but he got enough of him around the ankles, didn't do the shoulder tackle and got him down on the ground, so.
It was a weird play. Because, again, it was Jamison Williams.
Yeah.
It wasn't 202-pound Gibbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be Jamison Williams, but when you absolutely do not wrap up, it doesn't matter. He fired and absolutely did not wrap up, and that's not a tackle.
No, and those are the type of plays, I guess, if you are nitpicking, but it's the big reality, that can't happen. Because you're looking at a 17-14 lead. The Lions get the ball. If they score to open up the third quarter, we could be talking about a completely different football game, but they were still able to get the stop. But those are those little moments that big picture, you just can't have it, and it just can't happen. Especially when it comes to you got a one-on-one tackle right there. Just wrap the guy up, he goes
the
down.
end of the half. And
Yeah.
You just need to get to the locker room, and you give up a field goal. That's better than nothing. I mean, that's a win in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, again, that was just kind of the name of the game, but they did regroup. And, Michael Parsons put the team on his back there for sure, and he just made some terrific plays. Any final words, any final thoughts on this game before we say goodbye to Motown City?
We have to talk about Devontae Wyatt.
Yes.
I mean, that's a devastating blow.
Yeah, fairly did, yeah.
Yeah, he's done for the year as far as I can tell. He's got ligament damage in his ankle. That's not something that just heals in a couple of weeks. That's pretty severe. So how they're going to replace him, they're going to replace him by the numbers with as many guys as they can. I think if they can ever get Lucas Van Ness back on the field, he can play some downs on the inside, but you don't want him on first down.
Yeah.
They're going to have to figure it out. Nobody's going to give him the pass rush that Wyatt does.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
You know what Micah Parsons called him? He called him a player that you can't replace. There's a reason for that, because Micah Parsons makes literally everyone on this Packers defense better. Devontae Wyatt makes Micah Parsons better. It's not a coincidence. The last 2 weeks, I believe, Micah Parsons has had 4 sacks, something close to that. He's on a sack spree the last 3 weeks. That's when Devontae Wyatt got fully healthy from that knee injury week 4. It completely coincides, because when you have that interior push, it is so much harder to block Micah Parsons on the edge. On a very short list of players that they could not they could not lose to make a Super Bowl, I'm not sure Devontae Wyatt quite cracks it, but he's really, really close. He's right under that threshold. That's what this injury is.
That's true. And I guess, like you said, it might have to be by the numbers, but even then they're thin there right now. Like Carl Brooks has been dealing with an ankle injury. He didn't play. Colby Wooden, kind of had some moments. I don't know, maybe they can get Nazir Stackhouse going. But I will say Warren Brinson has really stepped up the past couple of games as well. So he's a guy that I've kind of been watching.
He has. I've been very impressed with him.
Yeah.
He gives them very solid player. Reminds me of Wooden a little bit, but I don't know. Athletically, maybe they're the same. But he's a guy that they can count on more, and they're going to have to count on Stackhouse more.
Yeah.
That's going to be key, because Devontae Wyatt was a 305-pound guy who could play over the nose, too.
Yeah.
And, you don't want Carl Brooks there. You can play Wooden there, but, man, they get, Philadelphia or something like that, they're going to just run all over them.
Yeah, so it's going to be
what they do.
It's going to be interesting how they'll try to counter it. And also, Spoon, thank you for reminding me about the stuff there at the end. I'm too busy thinking about this steak dinner we're going to have in just a few minutes when we leave
Downtown
here.
Detroit, happy Thanksgiving.
Detroit. I know, this was a good trip. We saw the Motown building, and Ryan watched me go nuts when I saw pictures of a young Michael Jackson.
Oh, absolutely nuts.
And, saw the
As you
glove.
should.
Yes,
Yeah.
So it was a great trip. And
Last thing
here
I'll
we are.
say here is I feel like the Packers have knocked off one really significant hurdle here. They've cleared Detroit, but they got 2 games left against the Bears. The Bears play the Eagles on Black Friday tomorrow. That's where you turn your attention to now, because even with this win today, who's the NFC North leader right
It's
now?
the Bears.
It's not the Lions. It wasn't the Lions coming in. It's the Chicago Bears. You got 2 games against the Bears. They have it in front of them, but that's all attention now turns to the Bears.
Yeah, and so now they have a little mini bye after this stretch of games. And again, this was, if you are the Packers, you couldn't have asked for a better couple of days, right? You win at home against Minnesota, and you can go on the road and beat, Detroit.
You could have asked for the Devontae Wyatt to get out of this game with his ankle healthy.
That is true.
Other than that.
That is true.
Other than that.
But, hey, he's dealt with injuries. But you even think about, you saw what late in the second half in overtime in Dallas when he went out. things changed quite a bit. And I think he was out with the Panthers game. And again, there's a lot of games where he was not there to take care of business in the middle. And, it definitely made a difference. But here we are, wrapping up time in Motown City.
Let's go eat a feast.
And let's go pig out on some food and enjoy the rest of our Thanksgiving before we head back to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and get some sleep. I'm definitely going to get some sleep. So thank you all for checking out the Green 19 podcast. The Packers come away with a 31-24 victory over the Lions here at Ford Field. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. For Tom Silverstein, Ryan Wood, I'm Dominique Yates.